Meat day, cheat day. Meat day, cheat day. I don't really eat meat on my protein days. It's usually just protein powders with yogurt, which is super low in fat. I mean, there's zero fat in those. Protein powder has a little bit of fat. Yogurt has zero fat. And I just mix it up. I make sort of like a paste, um, almost like a smoothie, milkshake kind of consistency. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would taste great. Um, I think a lot of people who are trying this diet, because I know a bodybuilder wouldn't try this diet at all because they're so obsessed with protein, because they've almost been sort of coerced by the fitness community, bodybuilding community, that you need oh so much protein. But if you look at anyone debate it, you look at history, you look at certain people in bodybuilding who did certain weight loss diets, what really made them lose weight was they put themselves in a calorie deficit, whether or not they knew that they were doing that, and they trained and they kept going until they lost body fat. Now, of course, they were still eating protein, but they weren't eating these 200, 300, 400 grams that crazy bodybuilders eat. Okay, they probably were eating way less than that, maybe half their body weight in protein. And then the rest, if you put it in carbs, will give you energy to continue and to continue exercising. That's why carnivore diet, man. People say you have to get fat adapted. And Cole Robinson, man, he's a funny dude. But it makes so much it's so much sense when he says it. He's like, yeah, it's funny. You go on the carnivore diet, and it takes your body so long to get adapted to it, and the second you go back to carbs, your body's ready to go. So it's like, why waste time and money doing a diet where you're not going to be able to perform optimally? You're just not. You're just not. I can tell you, definitely going back and forth, which is where I think this high carb diet sort of transitions into sort of like a peak weight loss protocol, is carb cycling. And that's kind of what Cole is saying, now that I think about it, without even saying it. He's telling people mainly just eat high carb, and then you have a few meat days across a week where you have pretty much just straight meat and then vegetables. And vegetables are low in calories, even though they're all carbs. So Cole is essentially telling people to do carb cycling, but be super heavy on the carbs and don't worry about the protein until you have a lean meat day. And that's really what this diet is. I did it unaware that I was doing it 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. But I used fasting to do it. So I would eat 8,000, 9,000 calories in a day, and it would be a ton of carbs and a ton of protein. I didn't really track the fats. It was mainly just a ton of carbs and a ton of proteins and whatever fats came with that. And then I wouldn't eat for like a day and a half, 2 days. And I wasn't worried about the protein I wasn't eating on those days. And I think if you worry about eating all that protein, it kind of messes with you. And you kind of get in your subconscious, or not, whatever, just in your mind that you're gonna lose all this muscle. But I was still training. And I can tell you, I would go up like this when I'd eat carbs, that many carbs. And then when I'd fast, I'd keep going down and down and down. And I'd go straight back up. And I was looking at my body, and I was like, I cannot gain weight. Like, I can't gain weight. I can't gain body fat. I'm getting shredded and shredded and shredded. The whole thing is with that, you kind of teach your mind to sort of be in this super starvation state, and then you kind of get warped by doing that. So the way Cole is advocating, I think, is very smart. You basically have just high carb days, don't worry about the protein, and then you have your meat days again, where it's low carb, but it's high in protein. And then on your days, the other days where you're sugar fasting, right? You're just eating a small amount of carbs, but it gives you energy to keep going. So instead of doing straight fasting, right? Instead of eating 8,000, 9,000 calories in a day, maybe I'll eat 4,000 one day. The next day will be 2,000. And then the next day will be 1,500 or 2,000 or 2,500. And then maybe it'll be some meat, a meat day too. So instead of eating 9,000 and then not eating for 2 or 3 days, I'm eating 4,000, 2,000, 2,000, which would equal 8,000, but that's over 3 days. So really it keeps you in a mentality where you're eating food, and if you're eating whole foods, you're still eating a lot, and you're able to just keep your body weight going down and down and down, and we're worried about body fat, down and down and down, by carb cycling. It's literally all it is. If you're not going to train, if you know you're going to sit at work all day for a long period of time, I would honestly just make that a lean meat day. I wouldn't even worry about carbs, and I wouldn't even count. So if you're having a lean meat day, don't even count your calories. And if you're going to be active, just keep track of how many carbs and calories you're eating that day, so you know, and you know how much it takes for you to feel good. Okay, and then after that, you don't have to count all the time. But if you do just that, you'll be able to keep yourself sort of accountable, so you know where you're at. But it looks like I'm running out of storage here on my phone, so I'm gonna finish up my lean protein powder here, and then go for a little walk since it's a nice day.